But do you know, on top of all those things, that the man is a family policy leader? Today, we are focusing on that role of a man as a family policy leader. We want to see what policy really is about. We want to look at how systems of, the systems we find ourselves in can be replicated in the family for the family to be well led. We want to see how the family can have the right policies in place and what happens if a man's policies are contested. And by the way, does a man declare the policies of the family or he involves the home? To unravel all these and many more intricacies of this very important conversation is none other than a wonderful friend, a fellow father, an amazing husband, a professional, somebody who has impacted many lives, the Dr. Charles W.B. Matsiko, the Executive Director of Olive Tree Group Uganda Limited. You are very welcome.
Thank you very much, Samuel, for having me. Good evening, viewers.
What a joy to see you today.
Thank you very much.
How have you been?
I'm okay.
Sure.
By God's grace.
Indeed.
Amen.
Please go right ahead, look into that camera and say hi to the viewers and go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit more, family, work, etc.
Good evening, viewers. I'm Dr. Charles Wycliffe Matsiko, and I'm a CEO of Olive Tree Health Consultants. I have background training in health economics.
Yes.
And I'm a health worker. I trained in radiology and public health.
Okay.
And by God's grace, I am an international consultant in policy planning and health systems, because that's where I specialize. And that the area which I've been working on in a number of countries in Africa, including Uganda, Malawi, Botswana, Seychelles, Gambia, Sierra Leone, and South Sudan. So that is my work, and I'm a family man, like you have said.
Yes.
I'm married to Lois,
and
I know she's watching, for the last 36 years.
Amazing.
And God has blessed us with 4 biological children and many others. These are adult children now, 35, 33, 30, and 23 years. I love the Lord, and that's why I'm here.
Wow, wonderful. Lois, we send you greetings. Thank you for being a suitable helper to this awesome man who is changing lives in all nations. Thank you very much for watching. Let's get to where the rubber hits the road.
Right.
We are saying the man as a family policy leader. Like we used to do in school, they would say, let's define the key words. But specifically for today, we are going to focus on one key word, the word policy. What is policy?
Thank you, Sam. Many people actually confuse the word policy. To the extent that they place it in different places, and then it becomes very difficult. And let us demystify it, bring it down.
Demystify and simplify.
Yes, one word.
Yes.
Decisions.
Decisions.
So policy is a set or a bundle of decisions.
Okay.
But what is important is who makes these decisions. That's where we have issues.
Okay.
Now, these decisions are made by somebody with authority.
Okay.
Somebody with authority.
If someone without authority cannot make a policy.
No. So if the policy are in the government domain, then that is government policy. So if you are talking of a certain ministry, for example, health, then it becomes health policy.
Yes.
Now, if it is within the framework of the church, then you are talking of the church policy.
Yes.
Now, you have then to go further and say at what level. Now, you can have high level, you can also have low level policy.
Yes.
But now that we have talked about a bundle of decisions.
Decisions, a set of decisions.
Exactly, a set of decisions. Then we need now to go down and say, okay, what are these decisions? They could be decisions on finance. They
Yes.
could be decisions on health. They could be decisions on spending. They could be decisions on relationships. They could be decisions on how I deal with my neighbors. That's why you hear that there is something like foreign policy.
Foreign policy.
So that means how does this entity deal with the neighbor?
Yes.
So that is a policy. You are dealing, this is a decision. What decisions do we have about our neighbors? So
Which decisions have we made
Yes.
regarding how we relate with our neighbors?
Exactly.
Which decisions have we made regarding our health?
Yes.
Which decisions have we made regarding our relationships, our finances,
Yes.
relationship with our God?
Yes. So that's what it is. That's what policy is all about. They are decisions.
Yes.
How do we reach these decisions, first of all? You have a number of steps.
Yes.
And that's your question, sir. And it's a very, very interesting question. So, first of all, you need to identify the decisions you are making. What are these decisions? Can we identify them? Can we touch them? What are they? Then, two, you need to gather relevant information about those decisions. What information? What disturbs people is that they don't have information. Now at family level, what
Yes.
kind of information do we have?
Yes.
Now everybody comes, talks this, tells you that, you have grapevine, you are moving around, somebody tells you this about your wife, about your child.
Yes.
Now you need to gather that information and look at it and sieve out what you want to use
Yes.
for decisions you want to make. Then you need to identify the alternatives.
Yes.
Then you need to weigh the evidence, because not everything here is evidence, by the way. You
I
are
hear
just
you.
getting information and
Yes.
pouring
It is raw data.
It's raw data, it's not processed, that kind of thing. So you need to weigh the evidence and see that this information that I'm going to use actually
To make a very important decision.
I am going to make an important decision. And not only one, by the way. These decisions must be interrelated. I told you it's a bundle. Decision number one, decision number two, decision
Yes.
number three. Now you have a bundle of decisions.
Yes.
And those decisions put together, you call it a policy.
Oh, wow.
Then you choose among alternatives, then you take action. Now the other thing that we have been finding difficult is that even as you have a decision, now putting it into action is another issue.
Yeah.
People don't take decisions into action.
They,
So
they just keep priding in
they
the fact
keep
that
pride.
they put together a wonderful
yes,
policy.
that may have decided, you have decided, but you haven't acted, so it doesn't work. Then finally, you review your decisions in terms of evaluation, and then you continue implementing the decision.
This is an amazing detail about helping us to understand the policy. So the policy is a set of decisions that are interrelated,
Yes.
made by someone who has the authority to
Who has
make
the
those
power.
decisions.
Yes.
And those decisions could be in the line of finance, of health, of relationships, and neighborhood, etc. And so
Absolutely.
if we are going to make the policies, we need to identify the decisions, gather the information, sieve that information, identify the alternatives, weigh the evidence we have, take the action, and keep reviewing the decisions made.
Thank you very much. You have
Now,
got it.
we are saying that the man is a family policy leader.
Yes.
So, what makes the man a family policy leader who leads this kind of a thing in a family? What makes him that kind of a leader?
Thank you very much. The reason is that now we want to go to the basics now. We are dealing with a family. And I want us to go to the basics
Yes.
of a family. At the apex of every organization, there is a political actor. In our definition, we didn't say, and I left it out so that I can bring it out now, that somebody who is an authority
Yes.
is a political actor of
Okay.
any entity, whether it is a government, whether it is the church, whether it is a family.
Some people
As
will,
long
some
as
people will
it is-
refuse the word political in that definition.
As long as it is an organization, as long as, now the moment you mention the word policy,
Yes.
Then
Then that's
it's-
political.
it is political.
Policy.
Policy is the same as politics.
Wow.
So it's
Actually, policy, what I'm hearing
Yes.
is that policy
Yes.
is the politics of decision making.
that is it. So that is it. That's what
Yes.
it means.
Yes.
So now, if we go to the basics, what is a family? A family is a group of two or more persons related by birth, marriage, or adoption who live together.
Yes.
That's a dictionary definition.
Okay.
But now let's come down to the definition of the Bible.
The biblical definition
The biblical
of family.
definition, yes, the biblical definition of a family.
Yes.
The family is the foundational institution. Now, now we are bringing the word institution.
I hear you.
It is the foundational institution of society ordained by God. According to the Bible, it is constituted by marriage and is composed of persons related to one another by marriage, blood,
Yes.
or adoption. If you read Genesis chapter 2, verses 20-25,
Yes.
you will get the context of this biblical definition.
Yes.
So we are talking about an institution. We are talking about the foundational,
Yes.
the basics. How do
The
you
fundamentals,
have
the
the
most
fundamentals,
basic.
the underlying principles? Now, putting together a family, it must not be on a minimum. You are talking about two people,
Yes.
but of course you have other people coming in. Now, what is the position of the man in this
In this
context now?
thing you
In the
called an
family,
institution.
in this thing that we have called an institution. In a family setting, the man traditionally takes on roles of a provider, takes on role of protector, and a leader. Now that leader, I would say priest.
Okay.
Now, that leader is with the specific responsibilities and expectations
Yes.
varying across cultures and families. Now, then we said with a minimum of two people.
Yes.
Then there is this mother. So a family, we are talking of a man and a woman in this context, in the biblical definition.
Who are biologically and anatomically female and male as at
Female
birth.
and male strictly.
As at birth.
As at birth. So the mother now in this case is the nurturer,
Yes.
is caretaker, and is a moral compass.
The mother is a nurturer,
Nurturer,
is a caretaker,
is a caretaker,
is a moral compass.
a moral compass. So you can see that these are distinct roles the Bible puts across so that society
Yes.
can be together.
For the man, you called him a provider,
A provider, a
a
protector,
protector,
and a priest.
okay,
Who is a
which you
leader?
said stroke leader.
A leader.
Priest
Now,
stroke
the
leader.
moment you talk about leadership, then you are talking about decisions.
Oh, yes.
You can
Yes.
have people discussing, you can have meetings, but finally you say, what are the action points?
You make the call.
What are the action points? Now, those action points, it's the leader that comes up with the action points. And so that's where policy comes in.
Yes.
That's where the decision comes in. Now, the leader will always ask in a meeting with the wife, in a meeting with the children, and say, by the way, now, what is the take home?
The cabinet meeting of the family.
The cabinet meeting of the family. Now they will decide and say, what is the take home? What do we do now? So that is it. So, in other words, this man is the head of the family. The children look to the father for support and guidance.
Yes.
He needs to have a right conception of life and of the influence and associations that should surround his family.
Yes.
So that's what makes a man a policy leader.
So simply because, if I'm hearing you well,
Yes.
simply because this man who
Yes.
is a provider, protector, and priest or leader, like you have called, is the head of this family,
Yes.
that already places him in a position of the political leader, like
Yes.
you called it, of the institution
of the institution of the
this
family.
institution of the family,
Ordained by God.
And because he is now the presiding officer of the conversations in the home,
Yes.
when there are conversations about decisions to be made in the home, finally he makes the call of therefore what are we going to do.
Yes.
And when they agree on what they are going to do, what they have come up together are the policies of the family.
Right.
And since he's the one heading this conversation, therefore, that makes him the family policy leader.
Right. But then he should be controlled by the love and fear of God. And by the teaching of his word, that he may guide the feet of his children in the right way. Then it concludes his position.
Yes.
It consolidates his position.
So
as
what
a leader.
consolidates the man's position in the home is
Yes.
acting out of love
Yes.
and being led by godliness.
Exactly, because God is not seen in there in this cabinet, but then you have to bring him in the equation.
Yes. So what I'm hearing, therefore, is that, and I wanted to ask this, but in a sense you were answering it. I wanted to ask, so does the man declare these family policies, or he actually involves the family in making them? But what I'm hearing is that he has to put the family together, have conversations, and they agree together, right?
Yes. Now, in terms of declaring.
Yes. Because there are many men who simply stand up and say, in this home, we are doing this, we are doing this, we are doing this. These are the policies. And since I am the political head of the family, just listen to what I've said, go and do it. No involvement, no consultation.
Yes.
And I want to believe maybe there is a place for that, but I don't know whether that should be the modus operandi.
Exactly. Now, it's related to the question you raised earlier.
Yes.
I think it was like question number 2. How do we reach a decision? And remember, we said that you need to sit together in a consultative way. You have a direction. And in our definition of policy, we said it's a band of decisions.
Yes.
Now, I just want to give an illustration. Let us take a vehicle, any vehicle, but in this case, let me take a bus, which takes many people. A bus has got people who are seated in there and has got a driver.
Yes.
Now, the driver may not necessarily be the owner of the bus.
Oh, yes.
But the driver
knows. Many drivers are not the owners.
But the driver knows where we are going. If we are going to Arua, and we are beginning in Kampala, the driver's role is now to put a map in his mind and say, now we are driving to Arua. But we have so many people, and in that bus, there are people who know how to drive.
Oh, yes.
But you have to drive at a time. You can't all be at the
steering wheel at once.
So now this driver, in his head, has got a dream where he's going.
And that's the destination.
Exactly. Now that's what we call a vision. So the driver has a vision. He does not own the bus. He knows the route. He's technically good.
And he knows where we are going.
He knows where we are going. So he has the vision. Now, so that one now puts him in a position of somebody who has a vision. And also is good. He knows where we are going. So when you call these people together, there are people with different abilities. The mother has got different abilities, your wife, and the children have got different abilities, particularly if they are big children. And so you know where you are taking them. So you bring it in a way that it is going to guide these people. This is where we are going. Can you now contribute towards this? So that's why earlier on I said, identify the decision, then gather the information that is necessary for the decision.
Sieve the information.
Yes, sieve it, identify the alternatives and see where, as people bring in what should be done at family level, then you sieve as a leader, don't dictate, but continue sieving as a leader, then weigh the evidence and choose among alternatives, take action, and evaluate your decision. So that's how decisions are made with a family that is led by Christ.
I hear you, especially if you are not dealing with a crisis moment.
Yes.
Because I'm imagining, if we are dealing with a crisis moment, the house has just caught fire, one wing of the house has caught fire. I don't think I will first of all sit down, weigh the evidence, gather the information, ask for, I will simply say, get the jerrycan quickly, take water, pour on the fire.
Now that,
so the situation, I think, also matters.
The situation matters. The situation matters. And what I need to add is that policy may be written, but policy may not be written. So that's where now you say, now let's come together. You are saying come together.
Yes.
But that means you have been meeting, you have a relationship with them, and you have that communication. And so it's very easy for you to say, let us come together and pour water on this burning water.
All right. Yes. And where there is no relationship, now
then it becomes
the moment you call them, everybody looks this direction, and the house is consumed by the fire.
Absolutely.
Because I think that would be a humbling moment for the man to realize that whereas he's the family policy leader, he is not the the Alpha and the Omega.
No.
He can't do everything alone in the home. There is a place for the helper, the wife. There is a place for these honorable ministers, the children.
The children.
In this cabinet of the home.
Yes.
Yeah. And that leads me to asking for your opinion. When it comes to these decisions we are talking about,
All right.
how does a man's decision affect the family members at the end of the day?
The family decision. Oh,
The man's decisions, how do they affect the family members?
the family members. I would just categorize this in three. One, you have life-changing decisions.
Life-changing
and
decisions.
you are asking how they are going to affect. That's category number one.
Would you like to give an example of
Yes.
like a life-changing?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, life-changing decisions under this category are put things like marriage and relationships. This is life-changing.
Yes.
If you are a young girl before 18, you are not married in my house, or you're a young boy, you are not yet there. But once you clock 18 and you are above, you are 20, you are 25, and you want to marry, this is life-changing. You will never remain the same. If you marry, you become a man. If the girl marries, she becomes a woman. And the things change completely.
Yes,
So
yes.
those are life-changing, and relationships, these are life-changing.
That's a
Marriage
life-changing
and relationship. That's one example.
Yes.
And so that's where tough decisions have to be made. That's where consultations have to be made. And that's where we have to be very careful. And that's where a man has to come in and carefully weigh the situation and see what to do and move
Because
forward.
this is a life-altering
It
decision.
is life-changing. Now, the second in that line is family planning, having children or not having children. You know, there are expectations of society. So there is no way, if you have married and you say you have no children, that one cannot work.
Why not? It's a decision of the couple.
So
if
that's-
the couple decides that for them they got married in order to be two of them and have companionship, they did not plan for reproduction.
Exactly. Now, so who is taking the decision?
The two of
Is
them.
it the woman or the man?
Probably both.
Now we are looking at the role of a man.
Yes.
So now they need to discuss if it has been suggested by the woman. So is the man consenting in that
And vice
house?
versa. If
And
it has been
it has
proposed by
been
the
proposed
man,
by a man,
has the woman-
is the woman consenting?
And
so
if
the
they
two-
consent,
yes,
why should the society come and ask them, where are your children?
there are expectations of society.
That's the society.
There is a
Now
foreign-
stand in a place of authority, because we said these policies must be made by the one who has the authority in a certain domain.
It's the other two.
Oh, yes.
It's the other two to make a decision. Now the others are advisory. They are collecting data.
And
from them.
advice can be taken or not taken.
Advice can be taken or not taken. Then the other one is career path, choosing careers that
So
align.
that's under which type of
It
decisions?
is still under life changing.
Oh,
I'm giving you examples
because
of
we were
life
talking of family planning.
Yes, family planning.
Oh, so the family planning is
Is
also,
also-
under life changing.
It's also life changing.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's life changing.
Yes,
Then you
indeed.
have career paths, choosing careers that align with the family goals, because you must have goals as a family. Those two people,
Yes.
those people in a family, and major life events.
Okay.
All those are life changing. Then category 2 is financial and property decisions, and this is an area that has brought issues in Africa,
Yes.
in Uganda,
All over the world,
all over
actually.
the world.
Yeah.
The financial and property decisions.
Yes.
Things to do like with housing, deciding where to live, whether to rent or to buy a house, and the type of property that you want to have.
Yes.
Now, all those are under
These are
financial and property decisions.
Yes.
The second one that I can give you under this is education, choosing schools for your children, a university or education path.
This is
for
also
children.
under financial and property
They
decisions.
are also financial because
Okay.
they have financial implications.
They do.
Your child may want to go to Leeds, or if they are small, you may want to have the schools. But
Yes.
there are different categories of schools,
Yeah.
And some of them, I mean, they don't pay. You don't pay the same amount of money
course you don't.
in these schools to support them. Then the other one is financial planning itself, managing finances and investments, and retirement planning. By the way,
which many people forget.
And then when it reaches, they have not planned for it, and then the man now loses it.
And they start to curse their children.
They start running after the children. The children also have got their own issues. They have their families, they have their children, and so on, and they have their issues. So all those are under the category of financial and property decisions. Then there is category number 3. Category number 3 is family dynamics and values.
Family dynamics and values.
And this is very, very critical in terms of making decisions. Now you have things to do with culture and religious practices. Now you are a Christian man. You are a born again like me. And then all of a sudden somebody is crossing and say, for me, now I have a Muslim woman or Muslim man. Now, then there you start weighing what decision should we look at.
And what's the implication of this
And what are the
decision?
implications on the family, on prayer life, on the children, on the nurture, and how to bring them in, on how to relate, on even the amenities that we use at home. Those are some of the things that we look at and need to be taken care of. Determining how to raise your children. And the other one, under family dynamics and values, family traditions, establishing and maintaining a family. What kind of traditions do we have? How do we behave? Where do we come from? You see, that is the family. It's not only the two people, but now you are looking at significant others. So the person you are bringing will be birthed in your family and vice versa. And so you start, and the fourth one is decision-making styles, establishing law, establishing.
Is this also under family dynamics and values?
Yes, this is under family dynamics and values. Decision-making styles, establishing how family decisions are made, whether collaboratively or individually. And these categories have to be taken into context when decisions are made by this leader in the family.
I hear you. So all these kinds of types of decisions, life-changing decisions, the financial and property decisions, and the family dynamics and values. Already here, I don't know how many policies we will get out of these for the family. This is a big set of values. I mean a big set of policies, not one policy, not two policies.
No, you will not get somewhere. You will not get many policies.
You will get
decisions.
Okay.
And then
which are a set of them.
You have one decision, second decision, third decision, fourth and fifth, like we used to do in mathematics in P5, and then you tie, and that is one bundle, and it is called a policy. Just one. Then you get another bundle of 10, and it becomes a second policy.
In fact,
so you find that you only have 2 or 3 policies in a home.
One policy here is the relationships policy, the YC, where we have the marriage, the children, all that. Then we have the finance and property policy of the family.
Absolutely.
And then I see another one of the values and other family dynamics.
Thank you very much.
So if the man is leading the conversation in making these kinds of family policies, having looked at them, what would you say is, how do these decisions impact on the family as the man leads to make these policies?
How they impact?
Because he needs to know the implication of what he's doing.
Absolutely. Now, and this is where the rubber hits the road.
Indeed.
Anything can happen at any time if you don't address these things properly. And you find that you haven't guided your family, you have raised your children, and you have told them they should never work, never touch. And they grow up, they go through school, and they reach the university, and when they finish, they meet, your girl meets a boy somewhere, and actually this girl has never seen people cooking or has never traveled in a taxi, and then you say, let's go in a taxi and go to church, and then the guard will tell you, no, I don't know how a taxi looks like, so I cannot go in a taxi. And then you start having family problems. And these are the issues that we are seeing in society. You say, can we cook and eat a dish like karo? And the person will say, what is karo? I don't know what it is. Because you, the father, did not instill these values.
You did not make some good decisions
around at that level when they were growing up.
Yes,
around meals, there was no decision, no band of decisions in terms of looking at food and
home chores, work
exactly.
at home.
So those are some of the things. And here we have failed marriages and poor relationships.
Yes.
Those are some of the outcomes. We have children who will lack career guidance and career paths that align with family goals. And so you have issues there. And there are many examples, my brother. And then you have issues of family planning with negative consequences. The family is not well planned. You don't know what to do. You know, you can find yourself having like 30 children, and this is a family that is there, and you cannot manage, and they can't go to school, and issues like that.
And you start to blame your brothers
for not paying your brothers for not paying your fees. You quarrel, you have, and so on. Issues of failed financial and property decisions. Perhaps you must have had issues at family level, people fighting, pulling pangas and killing each other because of property. Then you have failure to follow the required educational path of children with negative economic consequences. Because, of course, if you don't have good education, at least where we are now in this dispensation, then it becomes very difficult for you even to look after a very good family. And issues of inheritance, land grabbing, gender-based violence. These are the things. Now, this is the origin because the family is not that family that God intended it to be. So if it is not that, then if God is not within this equation, then it becomes very difficult for you. You have family violence. Then you have poor parenting, and so on and so forth. I can go on and on and on.
Yes. So a man needs to realize that what we are calling the policy conversation in the house, which in simple terms is about making a set of decisions in different compartments of the home, the man needs to understand that his decisions are very impactful, not only on his own children, but on generations to come.
One word can make or break a child.
Yes.
Your word is creation. Just saying you are great, that one the child will see himself or herself as great. Now, another word, if you say you are nobody, the child will see himself or herself as nobody. So we need to think about it, and we need to look at the components that we talked about, the 3 Ps, the provider, the protector, and leader.
Would you call those, if I'm to, you see, a home, when I hear what we are talking about now, the home is like a system.
Yes.
It is a system.
Yes.
And not only being a system, but it is a set of systems within this big system called the family institution. And a man being the family policy leader, I want to believe that therefore he is also charged with a responsibility of ensuring that the right systems are set up within that environment. Would you like to share with us what are some of those systems that a man should ensure that they are put in place if he is going to lead that family very well?
Thank you very much. So you are asking me what kind of system?
Yes.
I recommend.
Because we can't talk of policy without talking of system.
I recommend that we have system thinking.
System thinking.
And I want to break it down. Now, you can think in silos. There's what we call a silo, where you have...
Simplify it for my viewers.
Exactly. Now, in olden days, or even today, now if you go to lands like Teso, you'll find outside there are small houses where they keep grains. They can keep there maybe simsim in one, In another, they keep cassava. In another one, they keep beans. They don't mix them.
Okay.
Now, they are not supposed to be mixed. So each of those is called a silo.
Okay.
Now, in terms of silo thinking, that's where a man thinks alone. The man has his own car, he drives away. The woman wakes up in the morning, takes a shower, and goes without telling the husband. The husband doesn't know where the woman is. They both have cars.
Yeah, after all, the man also last night came at midnight. He did not talk about where he was.
So eventually, by the way, they start separating even bedrooms.
Yes.
One is sleeping there, another one is sleeping there. They talk through phones. So he rings.
They send each other
SMS. They say, no, I have already left. You understand? So if they have to meet, they meet at the office. So, I mean, there are those things, and those families do exist.
That's what you are calling thinking in silos.
That is silo thinking, which now I want to cross today in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Now, what I recommend for everybody, for every family, whether you are a believer or not, whether you are in the church or not, in Uganda and elsewhere, and what we have been doing is system thinking.
Systems thinking.
Now, system thinking, let me first define, and I will give you examples.
Yes.
It's a paradigm shift.
A mindset change.
It is a mindset change that emphasizes interconnectedness.
Yes, relatedness.
Relatedness and relationships of different components of society that impact on the family.
Yeah.
Now, what am I talking about? These we have different components within the family setting. And we mentioned them. Now, me and you as a man, you are a provider. Providing what? There are many things you have to provide.
In my book, I wrote 30 of them.
Thank you very much.
My book, Courageous Dads.
Yes.
Yes.
Now,
30 things every man should provide.
Every man should provide.
Beyond money.
Beyond money.
Fees and food.
Yes, beyond fees and food. Including that, love.
Yes.
That, presence, ministry of presence. Are you there? That provision.
Yes.
And then the other component is protector. And then a leader. There is that you bring them together. Because earlier on we talked about foreign policy.
Yes.
The relationship we have with our neighbors. The relationship we have with our friends. The relationship we have with brothers and in-laws. Now, those relationships are so important because each one has got a contribution towards your family.
Oh, yes.
Now, you have to sieve the information you get, whether it is for breaking your family or not.
Building it.
Or building it. Now, the second thing is that this man we are talking about should be a man that works. Work, use the brain. Here, brain, hands, and heart. Think about working. When God called Moses, he was not idle and disordered.
No, he wasn't.
Moses was tending sheep of his father-in-law.
Yes.
And he was very busy, and there was the burning bush was there.
Yeah.
And God appeared to him, and he called him. He was working.
He was busy working.
When God called Abraham, what happened? And at that time, the three men came, and they were passing. And Abraham invited them. He was a working man. He was very busy, but he saw people and he called them. And he gave them a fantastic meal. And after that, he got a blessing because God told him, I'm going to burn Sodom and Gomorrah. And so on and so forth. He was a working man. When God called Peter, Peter was a professional fisherman.
Yeah,
and he was working and getting a lot of money. He was at Galilee, Gennesaret Lake. That was his work. Different pieces of work and that he was doing at that time. When God called Paul, he was a professional lawyer. And he came
a tent maker.
And a tent maker. Now, this man should think outside the box. Don't sit at home and, of course, you continue saying as it was in the beginning is now. But, that is... we are talking only about God.
Even Luke was a doctor, a medical doctor.
Even Luke was a medical doctor.
Even Matthew was a revenue collector.
Thank you very much.
Even Nehemiah was a cupbearer in the kingdom.
Thank you very much.
Even Apollos was a professional speaker. They were busy.
So they were busy people. So this is what we are talking about. have the whole system of thinking. You are working, you are supporting your family, because when you work, you need to bring something to put on the table. The family must be provided for. And your presence is very important. If you are not there, mention where you are going. Everybody now, my family knows that I'm on family TV right now. Everybody knows.
Mine too,
and they
thankfully.
And they are watching, thank God. So that's the kind of thinking and mindset change that I recommend to people, to all men, to all families in our society.
Wow. So what I'm hearing is we should stop thinking in silos where the man thinks about his own things, the woman thinks about her own things, the man has his own vision, the woman has another different vision, this one is going to the east, this one is going to the west, the woman has a separate bank account, the man has a separate piece of land, all of them, they are thinking in silos.
The woman is building a house,
the man doesn't know. Meanwhile, the man is also buying land that the woman is not aware of.
And then there's that clash, and they start dividing children. This one is mine, this one is mine. They start.
Instead, we should look at systems thinking knowing that things are interconnected and interrelated. My awareness is connected with your welfare. Your good health is connected with my good health.
My happiness is your happiness.
You are because I am. And so we have to think together.
Ubuntu.
We have a system of thinking together as a family.
Amen.
You bring that kind of idea, I bring my idea, the children bring their ideas, and the man, the family leader, the presiding officer helps the conversation to reach a conclusion with actions and decisions that are put together in a system that form a policy for the family.
That's right.
Now, looking at all this, I know that policies often come with documents. Now, which documents should a man ensure that his family members have?
Let me start like this.
Yes.
Policies may be written,
and others may not be written.
Others may not be written.
Yes.
And there are things that we need to. There are things that are not talked about, and those are also very important. But for me, I will give you my own testimony. The Bible is key. I started reading the Bible when I was young as P4, P5. And I started requesting the priest to allow me to go in front and read. By the way, I wrote on my book, in P5, I said, I think I'll be a bishop.
Really? My.
Yeah, but then life happened, and I didn't.
You are now in the health system.
I didn't take that route. So I'm a health person, and I'm very happy with that. But the Bible is very key. It's the one that builds family.
So now, are you saying that's one document?
That's one document.
In the family?
Yes. That's one document, and it is the biggest actually. And
you mean the biggest in size or in importance?
In importance.
Okay.
In importance. And when my children graduate, I mean, even before that, I always buy Bibles for them. Even when they marry, I give them Bibles as gifts. There are other gifts I could give, but I know what a Bible does. I mean, if somebody is having a family, I give a Bible and I give a verse to start with, and then they can read the rest of the Bible. Yes. Then the other documents are the supporting documents that help you to read the Bible. Daily guide, daily power, and so on.
For Bible study.
And so on. And then reading materials, other related reading materials, which are also selected. We are talking about if you have like your book.
Yes.
Here.
My books here.
Like your book. Exactly. Like my book, From Policy to Practice. This one here.
I mean, old man at the wedding, busy and loving it.
Absolutely.
Blossom in your job and business. Someone to love.
Yes.
Remarkable woman.
Yes.
Move on. Honorable leadership.
First of wrote, I love a girl.
Yes.
And the other one is, when God moves, you move too. Are you moving? You know, those books, that literature helps you I mean, it helps you in a family, and you see what others are doing, you see the relationships, you see the challenges others are facing, and how to address them.
That sounds like having a home library.
Absolutely. You need a home library.
Every man should ensure at home there is a corner
Yes.
where you have books in
And
the
that's
family.
another decision.
However small or big, have a home library.
Yes.
That's another decision.
And the other decision is to have some space at home, whether it's a corner in your living room where you can study this.
A place where you can sit and study.
And sit and study. And study whether it is a reading room, whether it is a place in a corner somewhere. You need that place where you need, your quietness.
So
You need
documents, the Bible, daily guide,
Yes.
helpful reading materials.
and so on. Yeah, those are the key.
Okay.
But otherwise, some policies are written, others are not written.
Yes. Concerning this thing of the documents, and there are also some other documents that a man should ensure that the family members have, especially the documents that could be related with their civil life, civic life, working in a community. For example, in Uganda, I don't know whether this is just in Uganda or in all other countries. I believe in all other countries. I think every man should ensure that his family members have a national identity card, for example.
Yes, yes.
That's a
Actually,
simple, document.
actually, a man should ensure
According
that
to the policy of the country.
yes, that key documents are known by the family. For example, it is up to you, a man,
Yes.
to ensure that when your boy reaches 18, he's able to drive a car.
So driving permit.
And then you get a driving permit. Now, at a certain age, people are supposed to travel.
Passport.
So you need to get a passport. You give them a passport. And then you give national ID. Those are the ones you initiate. At least I did that in my family. And they know.
Okay.
Each one at a certain
Yeah.
age, you get those
Yes.
3 key documents. And then when time comes for traveling,
Yes.
you travel.
I have also given them the passport.
The passport,
I've given them the
driving permit,
national identity.
national ID.
I haven't given them the driving permit.
No, you need
I
to
am
do.
taking note.
You take note because that's the responsibility of a man.
Yes.
Then the policies are harmonized because in the policy there's what we call harmony. You harmonize policy to make sure your decisions are working in tandem. Right.
Amazing. We just have about 5 or so minutes to end this program.
Okay.
And as we talk about this, the man being the family policy leader, this role that he plays, something has come to my mind. If I can use a very political example, you will find that every time you have a government in place, there is the opposition. Sometimes you even find there is somebody called leader of opposition. Leader of opposition. And now that we are bringing this kind of example, or let me call it imagery, into the application of the family and family leadership, I know that sometimes the man and his ideas and his decisions and his policies are also contested by some family members. In fact, sometimes whether it is the wife or the children can stand up and say, I am the leader of opposition here, opposing daddy or opposing my husband. So my question is, what happens if the policies in the home are contested by the members?
You need to take it in good faith. I know. I lived in the UK and I also lived in the US. And when you talk of leader of opposition, actually what happens, this leader of opposition is to check government programs. What is government doing? And we have it. Because policy belongs to the cabinet. So the cabinet, where you have the vision, the vision bearer is the chief executive of the country. And the leader of opposition will continue checking. In the case we were in the government, what would we do? So different alternative actions that are required. And so those are the ones, like if, for example, you raise a budget, then the leader of opposition is supposed to raise a different budget.
Oh, yes.
An alternate budget, which say, if I was the one, I would increase here, I would decrease here, for these reasons.
Oh, yes. In fact, even right now, in the kind of politics that we have,
yes,
you always see that the minister of any kind of ministry brings what we call the ministerial policy statement and lays it on the table of parliament. For 3 years I was a policy consultant for Parliament of Uganda, and I was in charge of writing the alternative ministerial policy statement
for the other group.
Yes. As a consultant, as a policy consultant, I remember that time it was Honorable Tumwebaze who was the Minister of Kampala. So he would bring the ministerial policy statement, puts it on the table of Parliament, they get it and give it to me as a hired consultant to now look through the policies and then propose the alternative ministerial policy statement for the development of the Greater Kampala Metropolitan.
Very good. And me, I was doing it for government. Remember, Malawi and Botswana and so on. And do you know what you are calling the ministerial policy statement? Now, it is the minister in charge of that ministry is saying these are the decisions for me as a minister I'm taking.
Which could be the equivalent of the man in a home who is coming up as the minister to say these are the policies I am proposing for the next couple of maybe months or years.
So why I said you need to take it positive in good faith is because this and me, I have grown up children.
Yes.
And I have a lawyer in the house. And we normally meet those, not opposition, but suggestions, so to speak. And
suggestions for improvement.
Yes, and I have somebody who is very argumentative, particularly the lawyer, and says, now, how about that one? How about, have you considered this? So you need to take it in good faith.
Yes.
Consider it. Consider that. Those are the alternative actions I was talking about.
Yes.
But bring them to the table. And then finally, you, the policy maker, you stand your ground and say, I have heard from you, I have heard from you, I have from you. This is the way. And we shall go.
This is where we are going. The family policy leader. Maker. My brother, Dr. Charles Wycliffe Matsiko, we have come to the end of the program. Would you say your parting shots in a minute or less?
Dear viewers, thank you for listening to us. I'm very happy I'm at the Family TV. And what we are discussing is a very, very important subject. We are talking about decisions made in a home. These decisions are in the context of a man and a wife who is a woman and children. And these decisions are very, very important. To reach a decision, these are consultative. You need to get information. You need to sieve that information. You need to weigh the information. And you need to choose alternative actions. And then you need to take action. And finally, you need to evaluate the decisions that you have made. For us, we have got certain days when we meet to evaluate these decisions. On big days when we are together, on birth, when people are born, we remember these dates, when dad was born, when mom was born, and we sit together and look at what decisions we have taken as a family, and then we propose other decisions for the coming year. We thank you very much. Thank you for listening, and we want change in mind, paradigm shift, systems thinking. God bless you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dr. Matsiko. We have heard the family is an institution and we should take it as such. If you believe that the company you work with, the organization you work with is supposed to have a vision, a mission, core values, why wouldn't the family institution also need the vision, the mission, and the values? If we believe that this institution called a country should have good policies in place, which are a set of decisions that are interconnected and interrelated, why shouldn't we look at our families also as environments and places where we need to have policies in place? Like it has been said today, these policies may not even be written down, but they are there out of conversation, out of coming together to have a chat together as a family. And you, as a man, my brother, you are in charge of this family. The Creator has given you the responsibility, the duty, the obligation of ensuring that you lead your family to greater heights. You are the family policy leader. Going forward, think about the three things that were talked about when an example of the driver was brought into the conversation. He's driving from Kampala to Arua. 1, competence. He has the skills to drive the bus. Number 2, vision. He knows the destination where he's driving this bus to. But number 3 is direction. He knows the route that goes to the destination. These are my final words to you concerning this topic. That you should ensure you have the vision for the family. You know where you are taking the family. Number 2 is the direction. You need to know the path that leads to that vision. But most importantly is the competence. Do you have the skills to lead this family? Let's remember the words of Dan Quayle, who said our policies must be premised on and must reinforce values such as family, hard work, integrity, and personal responsibility. In a nutshell, let every decision that is made in the home be premised on a very important godly value that you have agreed upon as a family. Until next time, this has been the Inspired Family Leader Program with Samuel A. Bakutana, your host, and our guest today, Dr. Charles Matsiko. Live exemplarily, love authentically, and lead relationally.
Just one wife. That you need the leadership skills of a general.
Yes.
To lead an army of one woman.
So we have to take a lot of pain, a lot of effort